choose leaders for us. We choose our own leaders. And he made a good point by convincing people that if God was the one choosing leaders for us, then God has been giving us really bad choices.
Right.
And everybody can relate to that. Now, the question then is, are Christians limited? Are they shortchanged, if you like, in getting, I mean, as in Christian politicians, in getting their God, their faith, their belief to influence the outcomes in their politics? Are Christians limited? Are they unable to do that? Is that something that is not part of God's plan? So if you're a Christian and you become a politician, it's not part of God's plan. Just win souls, go to church. But for you to win a seat, for you to win an election, for you to win a governor race, those are not, God is not interested. Is that the situation?
You know, the thing is, it's first of all to be able to understand what's God's purpose for the church, what's God's purpose for the earth. The purpose of God for the earth is to have all men to be saved and to come to the knowledge of the truth, basically. And then, of course, the will of God is carried out on the earth through the church. Jesus said, I will build my church. So he's built his church, and he's carrying out his purpose through the church today. So the prophet, the apostle, the evangelist, the pastor, and the teacher are in the local church. The mission is to equip the saints to do the work of ministry so the body of Christ can be edified. Now, when it comes to elections or other issues like that revolves within the society, what God does is God gives man the freedom to choose. He made every human being a free moral agent. That means the moment God did that, he exonerated himself from man's choices and the outcome of man's choices. So he allows you to make your choices.
In individual lives.
Both individual lives and corporate lives.
Yeah.
Yes, he allows us to make our choices. And he doesn't get involved. God does not force himself on people, except the people call him into it. For example.
But that's what I'm coming to.
Yes,
Can we call him into it?
Yes, I'm coming there too.
Yeah.
God said to the children of Israel, I want to make you a kingdom of priests and kings. And Israel said, God, we don't want you to rule over us. And God said to Samuel, if they have rejected me, allow them to have what they want. That was the beginning of human government in the book of Samuel. So God allowed people to determine who they wanted. But then Samuel said to the children of Israel, but this is the kind of person you guys must select. Someone who will not turn your daughters into cooks, turn your sons into servants. You must look for somebody. There were criteria given in the book of Samuel. But you ultimately will make the choice. You ultimately will live with the outcome of your choice. So society evolved, and we have today what we call democracy. The democracy is a government of the people, for the people, by the people. God doesn't get involved in all of that. God's involvement is only if we ask him to intervene. And even if we do, the only thing God will do is to help us make the choice and get among the candidates who the possible best will be among them. That's the best.
What does it mean to say God rules in the affairs of men?
It simply means God has set systems in which men will rule themselves.
No, say that again. God rules in the affairs of men
means that God has set systems.
How do you get that? How do you convince us that that's the meaning?
That's exactly what it means. Go check the pretext and the post-text.
What's that? Pretext, protest, Latin, Hebrew.
Those are rules.
No, it says God rules in the affairs of men.
Those are rules. That's the book of Daniel.
And you say that
God has set the system. It's just like children are heritage of the Lord, and the fruit of the womb is his reward. What it means is that God has set the system of reproduction, where when a husband and a wife gets married, the reward for their coming together to marry is that they produce children.
Yes, so God rules in the affairs of men.
Means God has allowed man to operate a system politically that, allows men to rule over men.
Then how does God rule in that? When God is setting up the system so that man can rule, how is he ruling in it?
If God didn't give man the freedom to have that, man wouldn't be able to operate that system.
But it means God is the author of the system.
That's what it means.
But that means
God is not involved in the running.
But who does he want to run?
Man runs.
Which man?
Whichever man, the system, the society, whatever the society decides, whether it is democracy or whatever form of government, man will have to ultimately run the system that man allows to govern.
Okay, so Christians shouldn't pray for anybody to win election.
No, you don't pray for anybody to win election. Just make sure you do your campaign well. Make sure you have the right candidate. Make sure you support a candidate that agrees with your conscience, and vote for the person and wish for the best.
Footballers should not pray for God's intervention.
No.
To win a match.
No, just develop your skills. You have the expertise you need. Okay. Go and play.
People who work in a company, say a Coca-Cola company, just come to Oyo. Should they pray that that Coca-Cola company will become the biggest Coca-Cola company in Nigeria?
Well, they should wish it well. Wish it well.
Should they have prayer, direct prayer for that?
Well,
that we are just setting up a company, there are 11 of us, that the intervention of God comes so that we will be the biggest Coca-Cola branch company in West Africa, setting up here in 2024, even though we are new. Can they focus on a prayer like that?
It's a good thing to wish the Coca-Cola company. But if the Coca-Cola company doesn't do their due diligence...
No, but can they legitimately pray for that and reasonably expect that prayer to be answered?
Well, even if they don't pray that prayer, if they do the right thing, the company is going to do well.
But in politics, you are competing. In football, you are competing.
In business,
both people can do the right thing.
Exactly.
There is a certain liner of luck, fortune, whatever you call it, that takes in favor of one against another.
That's where,
and people want to believe that this is where you go to God.
No, that's where due diligence, that's where expertise comes in.
Experts.
Yes.
No, you can.
Because
expertise can be equalized.
Child of God, I'm a child of God.
Yeah, expertise can equalize.
You're a child of God, I'm a child of God. We're praying for political office.
Different political office.
God answers both of us.
So who wins? Because you are praying for one candidate, I'm praying for the opposite candidate.
Whoever is able to successfully sell and market himself to the people that will vote him will be the person to win.
Okay, so once you pray for your candidate, I pray for my candidate, God then sits back.
God just says, all right, you guys have it the way you want it.
Does God know, though, who is going to win?
He knows the end from the beginning.
So he knows who's going to win.
He does.
Can he share that with man?
Well, again, like I said, what is God's mission on the earth? God's mission on the earth is to have all men to be saved and to come to the knowledge of the truth. That doesn't
so
mean
God knows who is going to win the election.
Yes.
Can he share that with me?
Yes, by his spirit, he can reveal to you that.
So if he reveals to me, can I come on television and say, hey?
No, he didn't reveal it for you to announce. It's just like a father and son were chatting and I say, hey,
so if he reveals to me that this one is going to win, and I feel that I don't want this one to win, can I change it? If he revealed to me that
you're not going to change it,
this election is going to be won by Donald Trump, I say, yeah,
no, you're not going to change it because the foreknowledge of God does not translate into his predestination.
What does that mean?
That God foreknew something doesn't mean he's the one that instigated it.
I get that. But does it mean he can alter it? Can he amend it?
He won't alter it because he's not involved in the choice making. Man ultimately has to make that choice.
So the conversations he used to have with Abraham, where he was inviting Abraham to make determinations with him, and where he was suggesting to Abraham that we can change this if you can do this and that. Does he still have those conversations with men?
Again, those conversations were as it regards salvation.
So he does. So now that salvation has come, he doesn't have conversations with men anymore.
He still does because all men are not saved. So he converses with us to talk to us about what we can do to get more people saved.
So God knows the end from the beginning. So he knows that Real Madrid will beat Barcelona. I am Barcelona. So he will tell me that, Chief, you're going to lose this game. And I can't do anything about it.
Yeah, I mean, sure.
Are you really
Because
serious?
it's dependent on you make the choice.
No, this is football. He knows the outcome, so he's telling me.
He doesn't get involved with the choices.
But he also knows why we didn't win.
Well, he does because he's all-knowing.
Yeah, so now that he knows why we didn't win, he can tell me that, look, you guys, you didn't win. If you continue to play like this and to train like this, you're not going to win. This guy shouldn't play. Can he pour all that? Can the Holy Spirit pour all that information to me as the owner of Barcelona, who's a child of God?
Yes, the Holy
so
Spirit
I called the coach and said, listen, God spoke to me last night. Number 7 cannot play
the
tomorrow.
Holy Spirit can give you that.
And that can change and we win.
The Holy Spirit can give you that
and it can change and we win.
But you will have to make the choice to accept it and apply it.
I get all that. Assuming we accept it, it can change and we can win because God knows everything.
Well, again, it depends. Like I said, it depends because football is not played by one person. It's a teamwork. You can have one good player and the rest can ruin his
I'm talking about God's power to change. He knows it.
See,
can he change it?
God's power is within the framework of salvation. Romans 1:16. The gospel is the power of God.
I get it.
Unto
God's
salvation.
desire and ability to change outcomes for his people, Christians, when those outcomes are not favorable for the Christian, and he goes to God with prayer upon a revelation from the Spirit that the outcome is this and it may not be palatable to you. Can the Christian go back and say, hey, we have to do 30 days?
Well, sure, God can give you an idea and tell you, look, the way you're going is not going to work. You have to do something about it. Then now it depends on how you comply with what God said and how
that is where the pastors come in and talk about He didn't win because he didn't comply.
No, the pastors.
Because they say, God told me
the pastors
that this person is going to win. I asked God, how are they going to win? He said, they are going to win because they are going to win in everywhere on the island. And the other party is winning everywhere on the mainland. They are not doing their campaign well in the mainland. Prophet says God told him that. He goes to the country and says, Chief, how well are you doing in the mainland? He says, oh, our organizer in the mainland is not well. He says, hey, that's what the Holy Spirit told me yesterday. If you don't get the mainland working, you are going to lose this election. But if you get the mainland working, you will win. God has told me.
Let me paint a picture for you that will make this very easy. God said to Adam, tree of life, tree of death, choose life, that it may be well. He went quiet.
Who went quiet?
God.
After he gave those choices to Adam.
Adam is making the choice for death. God says nothing. God does not say anything. After Adam has died, God said, Adam, where art thou? So God does not interfere with the process. He allows you to run your process.
No, I'm not talking about that, Doctor.
Now, but
I'm not talking about an Adam that God has given him a choice.
No,
I'm talking about a David who is coming to God that said, God, you need to intervene in this for me.
Yes. So I'm giving you a Bible pattern of how God gets involved with affairs, beginning from the fundamental one, which is God, sin, and man. So if in a fundamental, serious issue that has to do with the salvation of man, God only said to man, look at this, look at that. Make this choice. And God goes quiet and says nothing through the process until man has finished making his choice. Then God says, where art thou? That's the way God functions. So when it comes to other issues of men's lives, God will allow you look at the whole process and he will give you some wisdom. Ultimately, you make the choice and he does not interfere. When the outcome comes, you will know whether what you did was right or wrong.
No, I'm talking about somebody who is coming to God and says that, tell me the choice. I am submitting it to you, O Lord. What shall I do in this situation? Tell me what to do. That's the person I'm talking about.
Well, again,
I'm talking about a person who feels that he wants to make a choice. Somebody who says, God, I'm here. I don't know what to do. Tell me what to do.
Again, that's where the leading of the Spirit comes.
Yes.
They that are led by the Spirit of God. And there are times the Spirit of God will actually lead a man. But again, remember, the Spirit of God does not do the job for you. He just gives you leadings. He gives you perceptions.
We get that. So,
and when it has to do with human systems, you alone don't determine the outcome of the system.
I think you've answered the question. Right. So a prophet can say, God told me that Olusegun Obasanjo was going to win, and it will be true.
Oh yeah, it's possible.
And Olusegun Obasanjo doesn't win, but it is still true that God told the prophet that Olusegun was going to win.
Well, again, it depends if God asked the prophet to announce it or he just gave it for his personal information.
Oh, he may not have announced it to a large audience, but he might have told some people.
Well, again, you know, when it has to do with God, we must always come back to God's primary focus.
I interviewed a pastor here
Salvation.
About politics. And he said some things. Some things he didn't say, he wrote it down on that table. One of the things he wrote down on the table was that during the balloting for places, a certain candidate will pick a certain ballot. It hadn't happened yet. It was 3 weeks, 4 weeks before the thing. Yes. I gave him a grand interview. He spoke about who win the election. He spoke about other things. He said, this one I can say, but the other things God told me I can't say. Bring a paper, let me write it for just you. And he did. And it happened. And I called him and I said that, should I tell the people? He said, no, don't. It's for you.
That's what I'm saying.
But he said certain things. He actually said who is going to win the election. He said that God has told him this is going to win. It's not going to change. He said that. Then he said other things. The other things he didn't say it. He said, write it down. This one. In fact, he took my pen and said, let me write it down for you. This is going to happen. This is going to happen. This is going to happen. All these things are related to the election, but I can't say these ones.
But again, remember, revelation is not exclusive to God.
To God. That's important.
Yes.
That's very important.
Sorcery is there.
So sorcery can show him.
Sorcery is there. Witchcraft is there.
And they can see what will happen. And they can see the truth.
Stargazers are there.
And they can see it.
They can see it.
That this will happen.
Yes. So people don't get wowed.
So they can also communicate it to man.
Yep. People don't get wowed by the fact that somebody said something and it came to pass. No. They've got to check a lot of factors and indices from God's word to be able to know if this knowledge is coming from God or not.
no dia ya da kai no yan confirm and confirm na tutuako afadia wada dai na ba wasi akokon ketenkete man penyene na na dodan akufo ado be ma papa bi na Ghana say yen si wo fom yen ni wo ho agro ye bodum soso a na ya kan krofo ajao na ya bon krofo ntam kese so free set dum so edigeti hye ne baye the fom bona baye awra wasam na se entuntum pe wo fiako wasi fiako no wa bone ho edududu na do mudurum sia do awra wasam nanso amampanyine gagai adu prema adu sobo adu nyansene woni mama mo adu papa bi wo baye no wa ma yawunu se Ghana ye wo man na ye betumi akan yafra wona wayiyi akwai ama enne wana no mo cassette yampo se okwaduo de wotano nanso ya no wayi na America tuo amampanyire omo kire mu se ensamanfo ne atiasefo odi adanse se wayi akwan esena ban bia waba amampanyire inshrankam esa wode wodoba bantema senso boache oni monyamfo na ni monyamu nyina fako na ni monyamu nyira bedemo yesana mrane se oyi akwan ya chumewura wode asa ya shanensam ewa ya kwantimponyi so ena wa mampanyire yase wodada na bantema senso boache de amanyo ko bia wa bantema ha no waguno every say another ya shawo basa 7 December bantema senso boache wase wo be break record bi e binsinda nenyina ya won shasha ya penti amampanyine one constituency one ambulance Posi fuada wase ani adanya usima womo ana vehicles awodu awodemo mo ya adwuma amampanyine Yesu Kristo enya ne awufuo nanso nana ado wono na enya ne railways nana ado anso wa Jamestown Temahabo ena wanyane mo ena nado ono na enya ne obuase Anglo Gold Mines nana ado wana waye duobinye bida restoration of nursing training allowances teacher training allowances waye duobinye bida eti brekesi ni mwanyamfo yese Ghana yabekaiwo one district one factory mekasa mebobo free ceramic factory tomato factory watermelon factory just a medieja na brekwa beswa de teya boye na wabo ejuma na monejo ena de kaya yefuase esanya danya wusisi ma won baby di won titoye enensa no nyoma wodi aka wo ho meba no biti amenaso wase won se wa asantini abaya nanso senana do se alla maka arbaraka na monejo na yase wabedi echire Dr. Haji Mamudu Bawomia yebetu amani boom yebetra usesa pana wetatu wono yentina ho na yehunu bipe yejamu ma bandada ode nkonfem ene dayase na mwebu mweso asante mindbekayo Ghana mindbekayo oni mwanyafo dasi ebu dasi aso dasi enyama.
Hello and welcome to the show. Now with 11 days to go, Professor Smart Sapon's seeming credible research shows Mahamudu Bawumia at 49.1% of the presidential vote, followed closely by John Dramani Mahama at 45%. What seems to be more interesting to many people is that Professor Sapon's research puts the NPP as holding 128 parliamentary seats and the NDC as holding 92. His research says further that the NPP's best case scenario will be to add another 41 seats to the 128, whilst the NDC's best case scenario will be to add 15 to the 92. If Smart Sapon's research is correct, it means that the NPP will hold a comfortable majority in the 9th Parliament beginning in January 2025. But some NDC people are doubting Smart Sapon's outcomes in the regions, They say, for instance, that the NPP cannot win the central region, which Professor Sarpon's research gives to them. They also say that the NDC will do better in Ashanti than the 26% that Professor Sarpon's research gives to them. Tonight, Professor Smart Sarpon returns to the studio to give us details about how he put the original research together. Also tonight, the Commission for Human Rights and Administrative Justice has rescued Victor Kusi Boateng out of Okudzeto Ablakwa's court. The Commission's final report has cleared Victor Kusi Boateng of all wrongdoings relating to personal identity and conflict of interest about the National Cathedral. So, what was in the report, and how has Sraj so forcefully rescued Kusi Boateng out of the legislature's court, the same legislator who has history with the Isophoton scandal? All of it coming up tonight. Also, we turn our attention to Johnson Asiedun Katia's tribal campaign, which is now taking shape in Ashanti. Johnson Asiedun Katia has mounted a massive and embarrassing tribal campaign against the new patriotic party in the Ashanti region. Tonight we show you the videos and analyze the content. All of this and more, text messages, everything else coming up on Good Evening Ghana. Welcome aboard. And make a date because we have a book launch this week. This week we are launching the book. I'll come back to it in a minute. Now, so if you've been looking at social media, good evening to you all viewers. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome. I hope you had a good weekend. Tonight we're going to have entertainment, education, and information on Good Evening Ghana. Forgive me if you get the sense that my voice is a bit hoarse because I think a cold is starting. I was in a breeze this afternoon. And it was good. Nana Agrada has been saying something. The other day she was talking about being an apostle of President Mahama. And Nana, good evening. How are you? She was talking about being an apostle of President Mahama and was concerned that Osu Bempa, Reverend Osu Bempa, my very good friend, had sort of muddied the waters, as she put it, by participating in the President John Dramani Mahama, former President Mahama's church program, and also proceeding to render a prophecy for the former president. This is how Agrada told her church that Mahmoud Bawumia is destined to win the election. I didn't say it. Agrada said it. Have a look at what she said.
For today is 24th of November 2024. And God has revealed to me. Today is Sunday. And God has sent a message to me to tell Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Jesus. He should not worry. That is the message. He should not worry. Beginning Reverend Dr. Evangelist Prophetess Mrs. Asiama, aka Akrada. That is what God has revealed
Number one,
to me.
That
is what God has revealed to me.
Number one.
Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Yes, said you should not worry.
It is possible.
Now you go see the power of God.
It is possible.
God bless you.
It is possible.
Still possible.
It is.
Is that Jesus see me country or say? So Nana Agrada said Yesu told her that Mahmoud Bawumia was going to win. But I'll show you a video now where Mami Agrada was quite upset about our friend Osu Bempa sort of getting to associate with President Mahama. This is how she put it. Have a look.
Papa JM na ye na ye don no me JM me don pa but me nya politics ye nyina no obi ani musa papa no 2020 ayi ye wo mu ide our chance even the number 8 no kwata say our chance by for Reverend Isaac Owusu Bempa for putting his hands e wo JM so no se nyama to fa ho a aga Bempa waso be ye hye wo krom arof waso be ye hye de be ka che wa ne say What be say ya nyama bebre because ya bra for so many days. And I would just minutes. Would it just minutes? I don't have a so. Also, JM, Wama was already them that and no, the bomb and some JM. I crap for JM. Someone no 129 was already but you rather and a 2 car. A call baby, I will yet the conference. No, me politics. I'm not NDC, I'm not MPP. Anything I'm a mama bino. Because me ko bi ni akokasa gra da NDC. That is why anything man ko bi nti mo am frefrem some mama. That is why I did not go there. Baby, I'm a peace council for NDC. They are there for MPP. And we say who me wo no. But ye papa mahama ya there. Na come here me to be post to one me page so there. Come in say me your first person to be there. Now
that was a few days, a few months, maybe weeks ago, when Mami Agrada was speaking. This one is just today or yesterday. Have a look. We showed it already. This time, if you're just joining us, we're just cataloging some of the social media favorite videos for this week, just before we get into our big stories tonight. We already told you what the big stories are. We have 3 big stories tonight. Professor Smart Sapon's research, we're coming to a firm conclusion on it. Commission for Human Rights and Administrative Justice has indicated that Kusi Boateng doesn't have double identity and there was no conflict of interest. And the money that was paid him from the National Cathedral is money that National Cathedral was reimbursing him for money that he had given to the National Cathedral, which he needed to give because of lack of time. They needed somebody to pay money quickly. He did, and they paid him back. We're going to get all that details tonight. And tonight we're going to be very critical of Johnson Asiedu Katia and tell him that his kind of campaign, the very big tribal campaign he's doing in Ashanti, is not very good. It's not right. It's not good for politics. It's not politics. It's not development. It's not democracy. We're going to show you the videos and we'll tell him that. And we'll tell every politician who preaches tribal in this election, which has just 11 days to go, if you do that in this 11 days, we're going to point it out to you. You may take it, you may not take it, but we need to shape the future of politics in this country. Future is always important to the present. Here is Mami Agrada talking again today or yesterday, saying that Jesus Christ has showed to her that the winner of the elections that's 11 days away would be Mahamudu Bawumia. That's what she said.
For today is 24th of November 2024. And God has revealed to me. Today is Sunday. And God has sent a message to me to tell Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Jesus. He should not worry. That is the message. He should not worry. Beginning Reverend Dr. Evangelist Prophetess Mrs. Asiama, aka Akrata. That is what God has revealed
number one
to me.
That
is what God has revealed to me.
Number one.
Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Yes, someone said you should not worry.
It is possible.
Now you go see the power of God.
It is possible.
God bless you.
It is possible.
Still possible.
It is
15 minutes to the top of the hour, 10 o'clock. This is Good Evening Ghana and it's live. That was Mami Agrada. Okay, what next, viewers? Next is our dear friend Belkisu. They put this behind me. I'm not sure why. This guy has this pot with him and he has a lot of people. This campaign, if we're going to put the photographs together to market Ghana and to market the unity of Ghana, the strength of our people, we can do a lot with that because the photographs from this campaign have showed the real strength and resilience of our people. In terrible economic circumstances, as we all find ourselves, politics, they don't do this in Denmark, they don't do this in Europe. The passion for politics is both with NDC and MPP. When you see these photographs, you know that, yeah, this is a country that has embraced democracy. And I'll talk a little bit about democracy later tonight. So, let's talk about Belkisu. Belkisu was in the studio yesterday and we thought that she was done with videos. And then this video popped up, everyone was sending to me. Belkisu is Chin Banku. Chin Banku in Ghana means preparing Banku. She's Chin Banku in her courtyard and she's responding to people attacking her that she is supporting Mahamudu Bawumia because she's poor. That because she's poor, she's supporting Mahamudu Bawumia so that they will give her money to buy food. And she answers this question in the most intelligent way that I have ever seen any young person talk. This Belkisu girl, she's going somewhere. She has great skills in political communication. It's totally amazing. Listen to how she answers the question of being accused that, oh, Belkisu, forget about it. You go and sit in Good Evening Ghana studio. You're talking for Bawumia because you are so poor. Listen to Berkiso.
Videos are man for bebre under the comment section will be saying, say, you are poor and you are supporting MPP. You are poor and you are supporting MPP. Me kasa nyankopo dia ni monyam say, Bianca me ma ufo woska na say Bianca me free. No ana say mantam woska wawa. Kami support MPP ni Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia. Esa say babia me free no sika ni ha say, MPP di good policies eba no. Nti am support MPP. Because me no me de bia meka baby am free no. Free senior high school a man kenye. Free senior high school a man. Nkaye nye school ko da. Free senior high school a man. Nkaye bi ni mu de. Nkaye ntimi kura nsi obi nkabo. Nti na me support MPP no. Muntu abama Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia why. No meto a free senior high school so nti sa de a. Ye bi ni mu de ye be hwefra. Ye be hwefra. Ye ho be ye mobo because ya wo fo libi. Ade e tina ya wo fo anko afo mama ye didi. Oh, me da mo asimu maga.
This Berkiso girl is going somewhere. She said that, yes, she's broke. And that's why she's supporting a party that has pro-poor policy. That the MPP policies are pro-poor. It is for poor people. It's for people who cannot pay school fees at Asamankesi Senior High School, at Manfi Methodist Girls School, at Presec Legon, at St. Mary's. Those who cannot afford the fees, because admission letter you may get because you passed your JSS well. But beyond the admission letter and your results at JSS, you need to have cash to enter into St. Mary's. Akufo-Addo says that's no longer necessary. The state of Ghana, the taxpayers' money, all the taxes that they pay will be put to your school fees. And every child's school fees will be paid at senior high school, that you may all go in and learn. The same thing that the rich man's child learns, the same thing the poor man's child would learn. What the farmer's child learns, the plumber's child will learn. What the doctor's child learns, the pharmacist's child would also learn. Every child will have the same opportunity. This philosophy, this policy is underpinned by a philosophy that the child is not responsible for the circumstances of his birth. And therefore, a child should not be punished, should not be denied critical things by the society because of the circumstance of his birth. Education is one of the most important things of society. President Akufo-Addo decided that whatever it is, whatever they say, I'm going to put free SHS up. I'm going to take the taxpayers' money from the finance minister. You know what he did with free SHS when he started free SHS? The free SHS budget was not with the finance minister, but it sat with the office of the president. Because he said, Mr. Finance Minister, you're going to come and tell me you don't have money for the... No, forget about that. Bring the free SHS budget to the office of the president and let me be sure that you are paying. As the finance minister was implementing the payments, but the budget sat at the office of the president so the president can see it day by day to do his policy. 8 years down the line, all the people around Akufo-Addo tell us the same story. That these days, when you look at the president, he's very focused on the campaign and he is exceptionally fulfilled. When you look at him, you can tell that this is a fulfilled man. And I look at him and I envy him a lot. I envy President Akufo-Addo a lot. Because you look at him now, this is a guy who came in 2017. He's going away today. He goes on the street and the women look at him and they are crying. And they say, we thank you for free SHS. If you're an African president, where they say African presidents are irresponsible, when they come to power, they pack money in Switzerland and they build houses. And you are a president and you're leaving office and the women are crying and saying to you, thank you, Mr. President, then you know that you are a fulfilled man. Not many presidents will be so fulfilled. There are presidents today whom we know who are not fulfilled. They want to come back to power. They are not fulfilled. Because when the Ghanaian people see them, they don't say thank you. When the Ghanaian people see the president, the former president, for some of them, they don't say thank you. They look at him and say, the former president, Senara. But Akufo-Addo is fulfilled. Because whereas people say what they want to say about him, the most ordinary Ghanaian, the most ordinary, when he goes around the campaign, they look at him, they say thank you. It was for this reason that he took up that dance to God. He was dancing to God to say that, God, you have favored me. You have given me the idea to give to these Ghanaian people. Now, please, God, let my party cross the line on December 7th. Let my party cross the line, that they will continue to do these things. So people were looking at him at the church 2 days ago, and he was dancing to the Asante Hine, telling the people of Ghana that thank you, thank God, and thank you. Look at Akufo-Addo. We should all pray that in whatever we do, whether you're a plumber, you're a lawyer, you're a dentist, you're a doctor, you're an engineer, you're a journalist, you're a news reporter, when you have finished and you are 80 and you go to the Asante Hennes function, you can do Onyame Boafwe Ye wa yeda Nyao ye mame dani nanti. Show the president again. Show it last one. Show it again. Akufo-Addo will be his name will be immortalized in the Legends Hall of Fame if on the 10th of December, Gina Duku Emerson were to come out and say that Mahamudu Bawumia has been elected. Some people are praying for that. Some people are praying against that. 11 days to go. We'll see whose prayer has been answered. Now, today I had an interesting day. I had a beautiful day because the book is ready. We are launching it on Friday. It's entitled Africa's New Constitutional Leadership, the 77 Stories that define Ghana's Fourth Republic. So what did I need to do? I needed to go to the Godfathers. So after we got the copies of the book, everything is here. It's now doing about, how many pages? Let me check with my glasses up. Ultimately 582 pages, and it's 137,000 words. If you look at it, you see all the young people who contributed and helped for us to put this book together. It's so heavy, it gets out of your hand very easily. So I went to see Mr. John Ajekum Kufuor to tell him about the book. Earlier today, I visited with him. So he held the book and we were talking about it, and we looked at some stories, and I told him what I wrote, and some of them he asked me how did some of them I had to refresh his memory that this happened, when you were president. He said, yeah. He was quite happy with the effort, and we had quite an interesting time. We spent about an hour or so with him. That's John Ajekum Kufuor. I'm very proud that the former president was holding the book in his hand whilst I was with him earlier today. He talked to me about his activities, what he's been doing, and he looked extremely healthy. I was excited to see him, and I've not seen him close range like that for a while. And as we were chatting, my photographer took these photographs, and we were pointing things out to me. And you're sure that once a political conversation with Kufuor starts, you know the names that are going to come up: Victor Owusu, B.F. Kusi, Peter Alajete, Darocha. All of those names came up in our conversations today. It was very, very exciting. As I sat with the former president, offered him a copy of the book. I will be going back to him after the book. Here he was excited, looking at a particular story. I won't tell you what story it is. But I was looking at a particular story. He said, which one were you so? I said, yeah, of course I did. And we spoke in tree for the most part of the conversation. And I was happy that he looked at the book and was excited by some of the photographs and the photographs too, he looked at it, he liked them, and he was excited by some of the narratives. He believes that it's a great effort and that I should continue every other year and put up another theme through the work of news reporting. So, it's ready. Launch this week. 3 days to go. We'll be launching this book on Friday, the 29th. And here is a short piece, a short jingle that is accompanying the launch. The launch will be here in Accra, and I'll be telling you more about it. Here is the short piece accompanying this book. You might see this on other media, from social media from tomorrow, because our production team are having meetings tonight, tomorrow, just to put up a spectacular event on Friday so that everyone can benefit from the contents in this book. For those of you at the University of Ghana Political Science, I'm bringing you some. It's going to be there. All members of Parliament, 275, you get a copy each. Justices of the Supreme Court, you get a copy each. Justices of the Court of Appeal, you get a copy each. All of it brought to you by appointed time printers. University of Science and Technology, you get copies. University of Cape Coast, you get copies. Let's engage, let's interact, and I'll be doing some interviews around. So I want them to question me about what I've written in the book, because we are confident that everything in the 137 words is verifiable. Some of them may look wild, but they are verifiable, and I'm very delighted that I got young people to support me to put this effort together. Here is the jingle that introduces the book.
The fact that Ghana is talking about the Fourth Republic brings up an obvious question. What is or what happened to the First Republic, the Second Republic, and the Third Republic? And will there be a Fifth or Sixth Republic? The legitimacy of this question and its potential answer are the reasons for this book. First Republican Constitution.
I, Kwame Nkrumah.
This was an American-style executive constitution Ghana gave to itself in 1960 after having removed the last hurdle of colonialism by replacing the imperial majesty, who was the head of state, with an elected president. This presidential constitution was overthrown in February 1966.
We present to you Dr. Kofi Busia.
Second Republican Constitution. A British-style constitution with a bicephalous executive, started in 1969, overthrown in January 1972. It was designed by a consultative assembly appointed by the military junta, which overthrew the first constitution. They designed a strictly British parliamentary system with a prime minister and a ceremonial president or head of state.
And well-being of the people of Ghana.
Third Republican Constitution. The Consultative Assembly designed a classic American-style presidential constitution with a strict separation of powers between the legislature and the executive. After 2.5 years of operation, the key elements of the military junta, AFRC, staged another coup to overthrow the Third Republican Constitution in December 1981.
That I will uphold the sovereignty, the integrity of Ghana.
That I will be faithful
and true to the Republic of Ghana.
And true to the Republic of Ghana.
And defend the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana.
And that I dedicate myself
to the service and well-being
Fourth Republican Constitution. This was designed by a consultative assembly appointed by the military junta, PNDC, that overthrew the Third Republican Constitution. They designed a hybrid constitution which has elements of the Westminster system and the American Constitution. Why this constitution has lasted over 3 decades and whether or not it could be sustainable in Ghana's fourth effort at a full democracy are the reasons for the 77 stories. All the stories are true and are written from the perspective of a political news reporter who saw the stories but also knew the backstories and many of the antecedents to the stories. Thus, the book is comprehensive, and its editorial stories published at the end indicates the verdict that the writer passes on some of the key issues. And finally, the book launch is Friday, 29th November. Make sure you do not miss it, and certainly grab a copy.
Thank you. Friday, book launch. Africa's new constitutional leadership, the 77 stories that defined Ghana's Fourth Republic. It's a story told by Paul Adumochiri, a news reporter from Metro TV. Okay, viewers, it's always lovely to be here. Let's get onto the highway now. It's time for politics. Thank you. 3 days to go. We are keeping an eye on it. We have a lot of work to do between now and the 3 days, but we'll deal with it. Johnson Asedu Ketia is our next guest. We're going to talk about his tribal politics. I mean, I know that Johnson Asedu Ketia is a good man and he's a politician, but what he's done now, it worries me. I mean, we've had a few, Lotto forecasts. That's okay. That's fine. But what he's doing now is so dangerous. I didn't even think he would do it. I hope it's not because he's getting frustrated on the campaign, because all my NDC friends tell me that Johnson Asedu Ketia is quite frustrated about a few things that is not in my place to share here. It's their own internal matter. I'm not interested in sharing that. That's not my work as a news reporter. But I hear it. And I know that maybe there's a problem there. But that's okay. So I'm hoping that is not because of that he's talking like this. Anyway, I'm getting a signal to pick up the text messages, and then I'll come and deal with the Johnson Asedu Ketia story. If you're just joining us, welcome to the show tonight. We have so much. We've been talking about Berkisu. We've been talking about Akufo-Addo's feeling of fulfillment. We've been talking about the book launch, which is on Friday, and I showed photographs of my visits to the Venerable John Ajekum Kufuor in the Eastern region earlier today. But we are now on Asedu Ketia, which is our first major story today. It's not a very palatable story. It's a very bad story. But here are the text messages of what we've done so far. And then we come to the Asedu Ketia story. This is still Good Evening Ghana. Thank you for staying with us. It's live. Who should I start with on the text messages? Fatih, hi. Friday, hopefully, we'll have the Amazon version. Those of you who are brochure, you can get it, but they will be all over in Accra, so you can also get it, and in Kumasi, and in Takrade, and in Cape Coast. And so when you finish voting, you're a young man, you finish voting, you go home, you open to the chapters and you read it, and then at 4 o'clock, you go back to the center for the counting. If you like, you can read about the elections in there, because we've covered all the elections. So it'll be a good time after 7th voting. Read about 1992 elections. Read about 1996 elections. Read about, in all the elections, we separated into the campaign, the voting, the results, the ramifications. We've done all those categorizations. In most places, we've used tables to explain that. So go home and sit and read about the 2008 election. Read about, I will tell you my favorite election later on. But as I go around the interviews and you're listening to any of the radio stations I'm being interviewed, you can send a text message and ask the question. I'll be delighted to answer. Okay, Fatih, go on.
Okay. And Mani Kaba also says, the debate is over when it comes to infrastructural development. President Akufo-Addo has done remarkably well, and posterity will be fair to him and make Dr. Bawumia the president. Lastly, from Mahami Adams, he says, good evening, Paul, and to all the crew. It's possible with Dr. Bawumia, inshallah. Bawumia is the only person amongst the presidential aspirants who we can entrust the future of this country into his hands. What do you have for us?
So quite a number of people are also talking about the seeming vindication of the man of God. General Kuhlman says vindication, justice, or deliverance may not be immediate, but it is inevitable. Just as a child develops and grows in the womb before being born, vindication and justice may be gestating, preparing to emerge at the appointed time. Victory be to the body of Christ. And he adds congratulations to Papa Kusi Boateng. Latif Ibrahim, Paul, continue with the good work. I know that it will be possible, and people will faint when reality dawns on them. Also about the vindication of the prophet, Daniel Abdullah says, Mr. Paul, they planned disgrace for him, yet the Lord gracefully favored him. While they said he has done nothing for Ghana, he's favorably gained a last-minute name. And this is talking about President Akufo-Addo. He says they are now calling him the Commissioner General. How beautiful it all turned out. What God favors, no man can disgrace. Akufo-Addo is blessed, and you rightly put the spin on it. Oheneba Ejapon, he says the most successful president of all times in the history of Ghanaian politics and governance, with a possibility mindset, Dr. Bawumia will surely carry on to lead the country after Nana-Addo leaves office. It is indeed possible. And lastly, Destiny Reigns continues to talk about the president. He says Nana-Addo is the best president ever in the history of Ghana, considering COVID-19 struggle all through to the unanimous development. He has blessed Ghana, and Ghana is blessed to have him. Yeah.
All right, so there's still a lot of conversation about where people can get the copies of the book. Just like Paul said, he's going to, give us more information about that as the day goes on.
But let me read this text. But I have a text from one of my favorite social media friends, Amaoko Yawagomashi. She says, "Dear Mr. Paul, it's been a minute. This evening, I just want to tell you a zoo." And she has the NDC colors there. She's an NDC woman. Maoko Yawagomashi. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching all the time and making comments about it. Yes, Ella, please continue.
So Oheneba Japan says, "All smiles, tears of joy I'm expressing in my heart for how far the Lord has fought this battle for Nana-Addo, the most successful president of all times in the history of Ghanaian politics and governance. With the possibility mindset, Dr. Bawumia will definitely carry it on." This one is from Ibrahim. He says, "The debate is over when it comes to infrastructure development. President Akufo-Addo has done remarkably well, and prosperity will be fair to him and make Dr. Bawumia president." Alaji Bob also says that Apostle Paul, my MP Vincent Okol, says I should say hi to you for him. May Almighty Allah fulfill the victory of Dr. Bawumia, a resounding one, devoid of a rerun. The NDC is now strategizing to intimidate voters on December 7th, but I know the police and the military will be ready to deal with any troublemakers. This one is from Manny. He says, hopefully he can get a copy from Amazon. Yes, Paul is saying we can all get copies. And this one is from General Coleman. He says, Apostle Paul, good evening. I am your student, so kindly invite me to your book launching. He even added his number. So, Coleman, we'll be sure to reach out to you. Over to you, Paul.
Thank you. All right, let me go back to the touchscreen now and then pick up story number 1 and deal with it. Good evening again to you viewers who are joining us. It's just 12 minutes past the top of that 10 o'clock. Why is Asiedu Ketia doing that, by the way? It's election time. You're campaigning for NDC. Somebody's campaigning for MPP. Somebody's campaigning for Nana Kwame Bediako. Somebody's campaigning for Mr. Alanche Martin. All of you are telling the people what you want to do. Now, he has this very bizarre campaign that he started. He goes to Ashanti and tells the Ashanti people that Akufo-Addo doesn't want an Ashanti to lead the party after him. As a result of that, he went to bring Muhammadu Bawumia from all the way in the north, and he brought him to the MPP people. And that this MPP party is for Ashantis. It's not for the north people. So you Ashanti sitting here, Akufo-Addo has ignored you people because he, Akufo-Addo, wants to continue to lead the party. So he has ostracized all the Ashantis from the party. He forgot that the Minister for National Security is Ashanti. Both education ministers, Matthew Poku Prempe, now the running mate, and Osei Luchuma Ashantis. Cecilia Adapa is Ashanti. There are many Ashantis Akufo-Addo's cabinet. Akufo-Addo's relationship with Asante man dates back to 1983, when he was a lawyer for Asante Kotoko for pro bono. But that's not even the point. How did Akufo-Addo bring Bawumia when the man was elected? Did he bring John Mahama to NDC? Was John Mahama not elected as the leader of the NDC? Why then must Asiedu Ketia say that Akufo-Addo brought Bawumia? Bawumia was elected by the people. Look at this caption on XYZ Online. Akufo-Addo should have allowed an Ashanti to lead the MPP instead of imposing a northerner on them. I mean, if I'm a northern youth, I'm 22, I'm from Wale Wale, I'm from Damango, I'm from Busa, I'm from Kusasi, I'm Mamprusi, I'm from Guprugu Yoyo, I'm from Damango, and I look at this. Akufo-Addo should have allowed an Ashanti to lead the MPP. Is Akufo-Addo the ballot box? The ballot box through which the NPP elected their leader. Is that Akufo-Addo? Akufo-Addo carried a single vote. He carried advocacy powers to advocate for a candidate. He was entitled to do so. He has to manage how he does it because he's the leader of the party, and he truly managed how he did it. He never really came out. He was doing internal, talking to people. I think Bawumia is better, etc., etc. Other people had other views. Other elders of the party had other views. Alan Chemartin had other views. That's democracy, isn't it? That's democracy. Maybe Asiedu Ketia still hasn't grappled with the tenets, the ethos of democracy. Maybe he still hasn't grappled with those things, and he hasn't imbibed the culture of democracy coming from where we all came from as apostles of the Cuban Revolution. That's where we all came from. All of us former socialists. We all came from being apostles of the Cuban Revolution. Asiedu Ketia is still in the Cuban Revolution situation. He does not understand the politics of the ballot box, that the ballot box is the most important personality within the context of political leadership and political challenge. He should understand that by now. You can't say that Akufo-Addo should have allowed an Ashanti to lead the MPP instead of imposing a Northerner. How does Akufo-Addo impose a Northerner? Now listen to the way in which he said it. That's the most dastardly thing you can see about a 21st century African political campaign. At the time when there's so much good going on in Ghana's what is now becoming a mature democracy, the chairman of one of the most important political parties goes to the Ashanti people, one of the biggest tribes in Ghana, where the MPP has a stronghold, and tells them that the exiting leader, Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, because he's not a member of your tribe, he didn't want your tribesman to be leader, so he brought a person from the north when the party belongs to you people, hoping that in that context, they will not vote for Mahamudu Bawumia and that they will vote for John Mahama. But if Mahamudu Bawumia is a northerner and they should not vote for him, John Mahama is also a northerner, why must they vote for him? I'm totally confused about the context of Asiedu Ketia's message, and I'm sad. I mean, often when I'm talking about Asiedu Ketia, I'm not sad, I'm just excited. But today, I'm truly, truly sad. And if I see Asiedu Ketia today, I'll kneel down and beg him and say, Wafa, I beg you, some of these things, you can't say them. You can call me a lotto forecaster, that's okay, I'm your son, you can tell me anything you want. But you can't say this because this is destroying the fabric of the Ghanaian. And you are a chairman of the great National Democratic Congress, Rawlins's National Democratic Congress, Victor Gbeho's National Democratic Congress, E.T. Menson's National Democratic Congress. All of these stalwarts, Professor J.E.A. Mills, Atua Hoy, Joyce Aye, all of this, Tutubi Kwachi will never say this. He can never say that. Why does Asiedu Ketia, chairman of the party, Samuel Ofosu Mpofu, these gentlemen, stalwarts, Evresefi Ankra, stalwarts of the NDC, these are people who fought the battles of the NDC, Koku Anyido, these are the people. They stood down for Professor Mills. I always said the story about Koku. He was the only one with Professor Mills in 2007, just 1 year before Professor Mills was elected. Professor Mills came out to speak. Only Koku Anyido, one person was with him. You go to Kuku Hill, they say, oh, don't go upstairs, go downstairs. Koku is there. Koku will look at you because some of us, he knows, what are you looking for? I said, I want to see Prof. Is it for what? Okay, let's go. And he will take everybody to Prof upstairs. One man. These are the stalwarts of the NDC. Asiedu Ketia knows about these things. Why must he be conducting such dastardly campaign? I'm surprised. Here's the video.
Sawako fano ama wababe buao amwadi MPP akonwa no bia na wo kokra kama manenko pribi on fair terms akontompo bia anim na wo baba chichire wo mo party no ya wo mo dia party no free wo mo krom wa twere ho ma to ho se me ma santini bia ma akuku dam ne animonyam 40 se Adeni Monom, Dr. Prakunum, Alankasinum, Dr. Kota, Onone Papa, and the party no by you. I chichiri muina Bomugala we. Na Sawako Fano, Ama Wababe Buao, Amwadi, MPP, Akonwa Nubia. Na Kokra, Kama, Manenko Pribi. On fair terms, akontompo bia anim na wo baba chichire wo mo party no ya wo mo dia party no free wo mo krom wa twere ho ma to ho se me ma santini bia ma akuku dam ne animonyamfoɔ te sɛ adeni monom Dr. Prakunum Alankasinom Dr. Akoto ɔno ne papa na de party no ba yo achichiri mu nyina bomugala wi.
It's just too sad. It's just too sad. And then you remember this in WikiLeaks. Fifi Kwete told WikiLeaks that Muslim can't be president. I think I get the sense of what is happening. The last time I was at the Accra Sports Stadium, viewers, when the Black Stars played, I had a detailed conversation with an important NDC person, whose name I will not mention, of course. Now, we're talking about the campaign, and he was talking about how on Good Evening Ghana, I'm running the Baumia campaign, and sometimes I should do NDC a little bit, and just try to be fair. He was punching me, you boy, you're not fair every day, MPP, so why? Why do you do that? We like your program, stop that MPP thing, and why? So we got talking about politics. And then he was telling me, honestly, and when we talk on these platforms, we are talking honestly. We're not talking any NDC MPP, we're just talking very honestly as people who understand politics. And he said that they were very sure that Ghanaians are going to respond to the two-term. NDC were cocksure that Ghanaians will always respond to the two-term. So when he said that, I told the uncle, but look, if you guys were to check the results of 2008, you will know that 2008 was just a slip through the pinhole. It was just a slip through the pinhole to give you victory. And Odanko Akufo-Addo had completely sold that up. He needed 25,000 votes and he didn't get it. He didn't get it because his party was divided, his government was divided. And so if you think of 2008, you should not suggest that Ghanaians are going to cocksure deliver two-term to each party. Anyway, then he told me two other things. He said, the second thing that they were really sure about was that the NPP, being the NPP they had known from 1992, would never, ever elect a Northerner to lead the party. And I was shocked. I said, wow, uncle, how? He said, we were sure, Paul. We were very, very sure that NPP would not elect Mahamudu Bawumia. We knew that they wouldn't do that. I said, wow. So those are the things you were banking on? He said, yes. And the third thing was that they were sure that by election 2024, free SHS will not matter. As in, free SHS will not divide the two parties, that it will equalize. Because something like national health insurance, it doesn't divide the two parties. Because it was implemented by John Ajekunko, for my good friend I met today, and it was continued by Professor Mills. So when you say MPP brought national health insurance, yes, people understand it. But there are people who also went to hospital in 2009 and benefited from national health insurance. MPP would like to say the NDC destroyed it, NDC ran it down and all that. That's okay. But there are Ghanaians who went to hospital in 2010 when Professor Mills was president and they benefited from national health insurance. In fact, there are Ghanaians who took their national health insurance in 2009. So if today, 2024, you talk about national health insurance, it doesn't divide the two parties. National health insurance equalizes them. MPP did national health insurance, well, they brought it. NDC too did national health insurance. But free SHS divides the two parties. And this senior person was telling me that they didn't think it would divide the parties because on free SHS, one person said it's not possible. The other person said, I'll deliver it. And he has been able to achieve it. And the other man said that I can't do it. And then one of the things NDC did, which may have been wrong in 2020, was that President Mahama repeated the campaign against free SHS. This is where he said that if he has 2 billion Ghana cedis, he's not going to pump it into free SHS. By 2020, the NDC campaign was still pounding free SHS as an ill thought out policy. So that free SHS is dividing the two parties. Those who like free SHS, majority of them are going to elect MPP. Those who don't like free SHS, majority of them are going to elect NDC. But who doesn't like free SHS? Who? Who doesn't like it? Everybody likes it. Who do you have confidence to continue free SHS? All the surveys are showing the same answer. You ask the people, who do you have more confidence that they continue free SHS? Oh, Mahamudu Bawumia. It's running through. So these are the things that are NDC are working on with 11 days to go, hoping that they can overcome some of these challenges and then win the election. The MPP also have challenges that they are hoping to overcome and then win the election. We see what happens in November. But if you look at this concept, then you understand what will happen in December, in December with 11 days to go. If you look at this concept, then you understand why President Mahama spoke the way he spoke. Listen to President Mahama speaking, I think a year ago. Have a look.
I feel sad when I see some of our northern brothers running around and also doing this. They will use you and dump you. Ezu, I want to live to see the day. You let anything happen today, and let our brother Baumia say he's standing for president in MPP. They will never give it to him. I can assure you. When the misfortune hit us, and our father, Professor Mills, passed away, the Constitution said that the Vice President should take over. I did. But then we're close to an election. If it was another party, they would have insisted that there should be a Congress. And in that Congress, I would have been contested. And they would have given the leadership to somebody else. But when it happened, the NDC's National Executive Committee called a meeting and said, no, there will be no Congress. We are passing a resolution. John Mahama is the Vice President. We are going to support him to lead us into this election. And we went into the election, and God gave victory to us. And so I'm proud to be a member of the NDC because I know it is a party that opens opportunities for all people of Ghana, irrespective of your ethnic affiliation or your religious affiliation.
So sometimes you get the sense that the conversation I had at the stadium was correct. This is John Mahama speaking, I believe, years ago, not months ago, years ago. And he said that MPP, they will never allow Baumia to lead their party. And this guy was telling me at the stadium that it was their considered opinion. It was their considered opinion that Muhammadu Baumia will never be allowed to lead the new patriotic party. That's what they believed. Muhammadu Baumia came out of the contest with a 60% endorsement of his party people. And everyone will agree with me. I tell people on the street when we are chatting, everyone will agree with me that if the MPP National Delegates Congress was to hold today, Baumia will get 90%. The 40% that didn't elect him, today they will elect him. Because now they have gotten the opportunity to feel the man, to feel his presence, to feel his caliber, to feel his power of thinking, to feel his leadership. They felt him. Every Ghanaian who feels Baumia thinks Baumia. Once you feel Baumia, you think Baumia. Once you meet Baumia, you think Baumia. Once you listen to Baumia, you think Baumia. That's the character of a great leader. And NDC was sure that the MPP will ignore this super talent because he's a northerner. That's what former President John Mahama just said. And I see Katia. Now that the thing has cascaded in their face, he goes to Ashanti region, tells the Ashantis that, you see, they bought a northerner. Don't vote for them. But if you say they shouldn't vote for them, are you asking them to stay at home, don't vote at all? Or are you asking them to vote for your candidate, who is also a northerner? What are people saying? Let's take the test, take a break. When we come back, Okudzeto Ablakwa versus Kusi Boateng is going to be fireworks tonight. Bobby Banson will be in the blue corner, I'll be in the red corner, and you viewers will be the referees. It's Mike Tyson versus Evander Holyfield. Coming up here again. Reverend Kusi Boateng, your God is great, eh? Your God is big, your God is powerful. Okudzeto Ablakwa, I so to you haven't talked about it, you are talking about somebody else. Anyway, Martin Amidu said he will see you Ablakwa for taking isophoton money. And he went to Supreme Court. He has things we've forgotten. Anyway, he's our friend. But on this one, he got it wrong. Kusi Boateng got it right. He comes out of Shraj smelling of roses. And why are they against Kusi Boateng? It's all about 11 days to go. Kusi Boateng started doing 11 days to go a long time ago. A long time ago, Kusi Boateng was doing 11 days to go. And that's why they're after Kusi Boateng. That's why they're after him. Let's see the text messages. It's coming up after the break. Yes, Antoinette first. Is that correct? Ella, all right. What are people saying?
All right. So this one is from Mabiki. Says, tribal politics is very dangerous. NDC has been doing this for a very long time. Those days, they go into the Zongos and tell them MPP hates them instead of campaigning on ideas. And NDC is more concerned about sowing enmity among the Ghanaian people. Prince Edward also says, Asiedu Nketia knew the MPP's winning machine is in the Ashanti region, and so he's just using psychology to instigate Ashantis to be furious. But he's not smart at all. Does Asiedu Nketia want to tell the Ashanti people that he likes them more than the people of his own hometown? Asiedu Nketia doesn't know that a lot of Ghanaians are well educated and won't buy this nonsense. He needs to wise up. And lastly, from George, he says, this is way below the belt. Any good-thinking human being won't take him seriously. I'm not sure he's even a role model to his own kids. Wow, that's a bit too much. Annette, what do you have?
Yes, so people really do not like the comment that Asiedu Nketia made. Alhaji Abdullahi, all the way from London, he says, Paul, I'm sad tonight. Is that a reason that they, which is the NDC and Asiedu Nketia, folded the hands of Dr. Kwabena Dufour for a Notna to become their flag bearer? Do you actually see the absurdity of what he is saying? Kofi Owusu-Brobe also goes and says, I thought they said a Notna would never be allowed to lead the NPP. Let us raise the bar and have a policy debate, driven political campaign, which will make things easier. Alhaji Bob Sidi Arton says that the NDC's campaign seems to be in the gutters. There is no campaign message again. The Bawumia strategy seems to be killing John Mahama slowly, hence calling for this desperate campaign. Nana Kwame Osei Boateng says, based on Asiedu Nketia's logic, then it would mean that Zenita or Nana Konedu should actually be the ones leading the NDC today, since Rawlings founded the party. And lastly, John B. Campbell adds and says, Bawumia is the best, Asiedu Nketia, because this point is even worse. Where are Volta region people from the NDC? Are they saying they would vote for John Mahama, who seems to be from the northern region? Over to you.
All right. So Nana Bridge says, this shows that had Dr. Bawumia not won the presidential primaries, it would have been their key campaign message, as John Mahama mentioned that the NPP will use Bawumia and dump him. Now the tables has turned and they have no message and have resorted to tribal politics. General E.L. Command says it's refreshing to know that the NPP values competency, unity, and transcending tribal and ethnic divisions. This is essential for any political party aiming to serve the nation's interests. Asiedu Nketia, as a seasoned politician and longest-serving General Secretary of the NDC, now National Chairman, should indeed know better. Propaganda does not work in this digital age. George Oforio Amanfo says, this is unfortunate statements coming from the chairman of the NDC, but he will feel we the Akan people will join our brothers in the northern region to vote for Dr. Bawumia and NPP. Lastly, Glue Score Ghana says, is it not the same NDC that said DMB would be used and dumped by the NPP? This old school style of politics has no place in this current political dispensation. Now back to you, Paul.
All right. So fireworks to start on Good Evening Ghana soon, but first we need to take a break. And now my bosses have been giving me a lot of stick about not taking the break, and I tell them the political discussions are heated. They say, but without the break, you don't get paid. After the break, Good Evening Ghana will be back and it's live.
There's nothing worse than your multi-bet missing, but nothing better than having it saved. Bet Saver. Here's Kwame and Yao. It's saved. Bet Saver. Win even if your bet misses.
I completed JSS in 1997. I got admission to Insaban Secondary School in 1998. When I was about to complete my first year, My dad lost his job, so I was kicked out of school because of school fees. My mom was a people teacher whose salary couldn't even buy food in the house, let alone paying my school fees. I stayed in the house for 3 good years, and I sold farm milk at Aguna Swedro before I was able to gather something to go back to school. That time, I couldn't go back to Nsaban Secondary School because it was among the middle class schools, which I couldn't afford, so I went to a different school. The saddest story to happen to me in my life was a day I was selling yogurt around the Greenland Hotel area when 3207 Mercedes-Benz bus stopped and they called me to buy some of the yogurt. I was the only person hawking there, so I knew business was going to be good. When I got to the bus, it was my mates at Nsaba who have completed school, and those from Accra had hired 3 buses to take them back from Nsaba to Accra. Most of them accused me of being a bad boy for dropping out of school and selling yogurt. They bought everything in my box, but after they left, I went to sit somewhere and I cried. They made me feel like it was my fault, but such is life.
Thanks to the NPP government for free SHS. If free SHS was there in my time, I would have completed school with my mates.
On December 7th, let's vote number 1. Let's vote for Dr. Baumia. Esroho.
One choice, multiple styles. All big, all unique.
The luckiest.
Star 712 hash.
Luck is everywhere.
8K. Hey, you can get 8K. Get a package from your one line. Hey, wait.
You can put it on his tab. This is my man.
Good luck. We'll wait here. We have star 712. It's what you phone. I'm on dialing the magic numbers. Star 712. Now welcome to the luckiest. And now wait me out of ticket. You can buy for yourself or your loved one.
Mommy, tell mommy who's here.
You're buying for me, right?
Or who else?
Oh.
Let me choose buy tickets for others.
Love you, boo boo.
Maybe straight to option 4. Now, you need to buy tickets worth 50 Ghana to qualify. Yes, you can buy random or preferred tickets. I'm choosing random ticket. That's it. Listen, if you buy the random ticket, the system chooses a random number for you. But if you buy the preferred, you get to input your own preferred 5 digits. 5.
Baby, give me your 5 numbers.
And how much are we buying?
Babe, look at the body and buy you.
With your body,
Hey,
Dema, tread cautiously. Now follow the prompts and confirm. Now the luckiest.
The luckiest is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas platform, not for persons below 18 years. TNCs apply.
Pacho, many fatal, watch a rabano. Watch a rabba, and let me imagine Casse. And now MPP Abanti, meet my friend home, mining engineer. And you send 50 years, I'm a mining engineer. And I'm a Juma MPP Abain. Aye. And your free education policy on the buy. Watch a rubber, Miniani down soap for a BS, meet Maria Junior High School, our transfer called SHS. Maria is junior high school now. That same particular year, now go point dom. Anna Ghana for your 2 Abama MPP are buying, and one day on free education policy. A buy. On the buy, my mini a chance. And they call one of the best schools in Ghana, St. Augustine's College. And I'm a proud alumnus of St. Augustine's College. Now, and that Bijina Hanoma, my mamma, no, papa, no, and you are from Ghana food. Minsada Misayim, me Pamuchao said this year, December 7th, Montwaba Emma, Dr. Baumia. Now, Obiwa baby, Obiwa crazy baby, we need the that's what to send me. No, mammy, don't watch it, said, mammy, don't watch it now. Obiwa baby, my mini Juma, never upon near Juma, Obiwa baby, ne papa Ephraim, ne mammy Ephraim, only that's so baby. Monfa, Monsako Kromoti, and team number 1, Emma, Dr. Baumia. Na omwa Ghana for on crown wo baby a, omuni ani da so baby a. Esoro.
Now follow the prompts and confirm. The luckiest is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas platform, not for persons below 18 years. TNCs apply.
Mabroho fwetie. Eni anom ni adofo no. Pa cho, mene fata, wachi raba no. Wachi raba a, ene mitime gina kase. Enam MPP Abanti, meti ma frɛ me ho, mining engineer. And I'm a juma MPP Abain. Aye. And your free education policy on the buy. Watch a rubber, Miniani da so baby a.
Experience the enhanced protection of Star Motor Third-Party Extra from Star Assurance, an enhanced motor third-party insurance policy that provides cover for loss or damage to your vehicle's windscreens, side mirrors, back glass, and other glass components. Whether it's a crack or major damage, you can drive with the assurance that your vehicle is well protected. Our commitment to you includes affordable coverage options and a claims process that is both fast and straightforward, so you spend less time dealing with paperwork and more time on the road. Also, we have proudly partnered with Hope for Little Lives, an organization dedicated to supporting children in need. By choosing Star Motor Third-Party Extra, you're protecting your vehicle and making a positive impact. Every policy you buy helps bring joy and support to children in underserved communities. Reach out to us now on our toll-free numbers 0800-177-177 or 0302-245-906 to sign up. Let us help you drive with peace of mind and purpose. Star Motor Third-Party Extra. Drive with confidence, give back with heart.
Star Assurance, your solid partner.
Here's Kwame and Yao. Bet saver, win, even if your bet misses.
The luckiest.
Star 712 hash.
Luck is everywhere.
8K. Hey, you get an 8K. Get that packing from your book, man. One lie. Hey, wait.
You can put it on his tab. This is my man. Good luck.
Hey, Bill Radio. We are star 712. It's much of a phone. I'm on dialing the magic numbers. Star 712. Now, welcome to the luckiest. And I'm with me at home ticket. You can buy for yourself or your loved one.
Mommy, tell mommy who's here.
You're buying for me, right?
Or who else?
Oh.
Let's choose buy tickets for adults.
Love you, boo boo.
Maybe straight to option 4. Now, you need to buy tickets worth 50 Ghana to qualify. Yes, you can buy random or preferred tickets. I'm choosing random tickets. Listen, if you buy the random ticket, the system chooses a random number for you. But if you buy the preferred, you get to input your own preferred 5 digits. 5.
Baby, give me your 5 numbers.
And how much are we buying?
Babe, look at the body and buy you.
With your body,
Hey,
Nema, tread cautiously. Now follow the prompts and confirm. Now the luckiest.
The luckiest is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas platform, not for persons below 18 years. TNCs apply.
Fire Pomudi Niagubi, Ghana Funiaji. If you say, ya, your local spices, na ya fradia, ya sanko for natural spice.
Me de gumi jollof fumu, name is still a huduma, emanate dance.
Stanley, the barbecue they go on.
Sanko for natural spices, and one you use 100% natural.
Adofo, mamunye huge mistake. Sankofa natural spices.
Experience the enhanced protection of Star Motor Third-Party Extra from Star Assurance, an enhanced motor third-party insurance policy that provides cover for loss or damage to your vehicle's windscreens, side mirrors, back glass, and other glass components. Whether it's a crack or major damage, you can drive with the assurance that your vehicle is well protected. Our commitment to you includes affordable coverage options and a claims process that is both fast and straightforward, so you spend less time dealing with paperwork and more time on the road. Also, we have proudly partnered with Hope for Little Lives, an organization dedicated to supporting children in need. By choosing Star Motor Third-Party Extra, you're protecting your vehicle and making a positive impact. Every policy you buy helps bring joy and support to children in underserved communities. Reach out to us now on our toll-free numbers 0800-177-177 or 0302-245-906 to sign up. Let us help you drive with peace of mind and purpose. Star Motor Third-Party Extra. Drive with confidence, give back with heart.
Star Assurance, your solid partner.
Remember the dark days of Dumso under Mohammed's administration? Vital surgeries halted. Dumso killed many people and will kill many more if we do not vote wisely. Dumso destroyed many businesses and will destroy more if we do not vote wisely. businesses suffered irreparable losses. Dumsor disrupted family life and will do more if we do not vote wisely. Student studies disrupted. MPP's era has seen stable power supply. Never again should we return to Dumsor. Let's keep the lights on. Vote wisely.
Esoro. Vote number 1 on the ballot.
One choice, multiple styles. All big, all unique.
Here's Kwame and Yao. Saved. Bet saver. Win. Even if your bet misses. There's nothing worse than your multi-bet missing. But nothing better than having it saved. Bet saver.
So the Commission for Human Rights, welcome back to the show. Viewers, welcome back to the show. Okay, just so to welcome, let's play the montage, our intro montage again, just to welcome viewers to the show. When you have it, just give me a signal. And then those who haven't heard it will hear it, and then we go on with it. So they're going to roll out the intro montage, and then they will play it, the intro montage. Hello and welcome to the show. Now with 11 days to go, Professor Smart Sapon's seeming credible research shows Mahamudu Bawumia at 49.1% of the presidential vote, followed closely by John Dramani Mahama at 45%. What seems to be more interesting to many people is that Professor Sapon's research puts the NPP as holding 128 parliamentary seats and the NDC as holding 92. His research says further that the NPP's best case scenario will be to add another 41 seats to the 128, whilst the NDC's best case scenario will be to add 15 to the 92. If Smasapon's research is correct, it means that the NPP will hold a comfortable majority in the 9th Parliament beginning in January 2025. But some NDC people are doubting Smasapon's outcomes in the regions. They say, for instance, that the NPP cannot win the central region, which Professor Sapon's research gives to them. They also say that the NDC will do better in Ashanti than the 26% that Professor Sapon's research gives to them. Tonight, Professor Smart Sapon returns to the studio to give us details about how he put the regional research together. Also tonight, the Commission for Human Rights and Administrative Justice has rescued Victor Kusi-Boateng out of Okudzeto Ablakwa's court. The Commission's final reports has cleared Victor Kusi-Boateng of all wrongdoings relating to personal identity and conflict of interest about the National Cathedral. So, what was in the report, and how has Sraj so forcefully rescued Kusi-Boateng out of the legislature's court, the same legislator who has history with the Isophoton scandal? All of it coming up tonight. Also, we turn our attention to Johnson Asiedun Katia's tribal campaign, which is now taking shape in Ashanti. Johnson Asiedun Katia has mounted a massive and embarrassing tribal campaign against the New Patriotic Party in the Ashanti region. Tonight, we show you the videos and analyze the content. All of this and more, text messages, everything else coming up on Good Evening Ghana. Welcome aboard. Victor Kusi-Boateng and Okudzeto Ablakwa. I'm guessing that maybe we must have Smasapon in the studio on Thursday so he can sort of walk us through it. By then, another research, I understand, is coming up on Wednesday, tomorrow. Another research is being released tomorrow, and that we wait to see what that says about who is winning and who is leading. But all the researchers are good and they educate us, but the most important poll is the one that has just 11 days to go. And when that poll is counted, that will be the real story. Now, though, we turn to the Commission for Human Rights and Administrative Justice. So we all know that the National Cathedral was proposed by Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. A company was set up to do it, and many people supported it. I supported it. Many Christians thought it was a good idea. I still think it's a good idea. I believe the next president of Ghana must build it. If he doesn't build it, the next one will build it, and one day we must have a cathedral that we can call a cathedral for God. It is true that Christians of the New Testament say that God is not worshipped in a building, and that God is not worshipped, His worship in spirit and in truth. But if leadership dedicates a portion of your country to the service of God, I believe God recognizes that. God is not going to ignore that a person has dedicated a portion of his country to the worship of God in your own house. Those who worship, those who practice other worships, a lot of them have altars in their home, and when you go there, that altar is dedicated as a temple to the God that they worship. And so if you worship God and you dedicate a portion of anything to God, I believe that heaven recognizes it. It doesn't mean that God is limited to that place. No, God is too big to be limited to a room. Even back in the days of the Holy of Holies in Israel, God was not limited to the temple or that Solomon built. God was not limited to that. God cannot be limited to anything. But He wanted them to build a temple in Jerusalem as a memorial, to show that they have given out of themselves, a portion of themselves dedicated to the God, the Elohim. That's what it is. Akufo-Addo and the people who dreamed the cathedral were not saying that God is going to stay in the cathedral, and that when you walk out of the cathedral and you reach the stadium, God is not there. So when you are at the stadium, God is at the cathedral. If you can run, you can touch God at the cathedral. He's not at the stadium. God is everywhere. The air is God. Everything is God. He's omnipresent. So God is everywhere. So when we talk about cathedral, we do not mean that they are going to limit God. And I heard people on radio, God doesn't live in a house. The Bible says that God, but of course it says, now therefore the Father shall be worshipped in spirit and in truth. That's the foundational scripture that shows that God doesn't live in a house. Because, and now therefore, written in the Bible, connotes the departure from a certain past. If you read the scripture, you will see that the expression of now therefore, it connotes a departure from a certain past. So this is the new one. We are the new one. It says, now therefore the Father shall be worshipped in spirit and in truth. No more in the Holy of Holies. We all understand that. But this is about dedication. It's about dedicating something that belongs to you to God, to show that there is nothing that you receive that didn't come from God. To show that God is and you are not. That you are because He is. You remember when we were doing religion in university, we learned a Latin phrase, Gogito ego sum. You remember that one? Gogito is ego sum. I am because I breathe, or something like that. Can somebody Google? I've forgotten. Reverend Kuduaji taught us. And we used to joke with it in Commonwealth Hall and call people nicknames, Gogito ego sum. So you are because God is. And because you are because God is, whatever you possess, you can dedicate a portion to the glory of God. And that's what Akufo-Addo was doing. And I believe that will happen. It will happen. But it became political. And I'm beginning the story now. I'm beginning the story, my lady. I'm beginning the story. But it became, and the one I said before is another story. But it became political because Ekunyeto Ablakwa here, the other day he was studying at Presec, the best school that some of us got the opportunity by the grace of God to study in. He studied there too. But he studied for a shorter time. We were there for longer. That means nothing. So Ablakwa here is a legislator. He's of the National Democratic Congress. So his photograph is near his party's flag. You can see that. It's beautiful, isn't it? Now, he decided to be an anti-corruption crusader to foster his career. Good decision. And then he decided to come on the National Cathedral. He rained all the insults in the world on Osofo Victor Kusi Boateng. He alleged that Victor Kusi Boateng is so bad that Victor Kusi Boateng has two identities. That he calls himself Victor Kusi Boateng, and then he calls himself Reverend Edu Jemfi. Because that if you take his passport, his name is Reverend Edu Jemfi, passport 1. You take passport 2, his name is Reverend Kusi Boateng. Ablakwa went beyond that. He said, in fact, Kusi Boateng, as a member of the Cathedral Company, has actually received money from the cathedral directly because the government of Ghana used the taxpayers' money as a seed fund for the cathedral. And this was announced in Parliament by the Venerable Ken Ofori-Atta, the Minister of Finance, as he then was in 2019. He announced that the state was paying money. And then we're all in the United States. I was there in Washington, D.C. that night, where a fundraiser was organized. President Akufo-Addo was there. The Venerable Archbishop Duncan Williams was there. Sonny Badu was there. He made the music, he sang, and we had a great time in Maryland, way back, 2018 or something like that. So, but the seed money had come from government, so it was a big deal. It was government. And Ablakwa alleged that that taxpayers' money that had been given to the cathedral, a portion of it had been given to Reverend Kusi Boateng for his personal benefit because his company had been awarded some form of contract. His company is not an engineering company, it's not a plumbing company, it's not an architectural company. But Ablakwa said, in spite of all that, Kusi Boateng's company had been given money. And that Kusi Boateng says he's a pastor, but in fact he's a fraud. Ablakwa went ahead to say that if people are doubting what he's saying, he's going to petition the Commissioner for Human Rights and Administrative Justice, and people will hear the truth. Kusi Boateng said nothing. I met him at the Kumasi airport. As I saw, he said, I have nothing to say. I said, oh, Papa, I have nothing to say. Vindication, he told me, is in the womb of time. He told me. I met him at the Kumasi airport. He was with his wife. He said, Papa, and that's how he calls me, vindication is in the womb of time. I said, okay. I asked him who is his lawyer. He told me, how's his thing going? He said, they are fine. Have his lawyers responded? He said, his lawyers have responded. I said, okay, let's see what happens. Today, or yesterday, the Commission of Human Rights and Administrative Justice came out with their report. It appeared that they were clutching for territory and jurisdiction that they don't have at the end, where they were talking about public procurement and all that, but we'll get to that. In the report, the Commission for Human Rights says, Kusi Boateng doesn't have a double identity. Ablakwa was wrong. It's not true. This is how damaging these things can be. The other day, Rawlings was calling some children babies with sharp teeth. You remember, J.J. Rawlings. He said in his own party, there are babies with sharp teeth. But this is how damaging some of those things can be. It's completely damaging. After several months of heaping all the insults of this man, the Commission for Human Rights, it is not Kusi Boateng who took the case there. It's Ablakwa who took the case there to solidify his point. He went to Sraj to solidify his point. And Sraj burst his bubble. Sraj have told him today that he's wrong. The Sraj commissioner was appointed by former President John Dramani Mahama in the dying days of his government. He appointed a Sraj guy. He has entitled to do so. It's still a constitutional conversation constitutional law students are having. Whether or not His Excellency the President is able to function as president after the elections of December 7th, where he has been defeated. It's a good exam question. Whether or not that, because he has no correct answer, and you get to know how the students are thinking. Whether or not the president of Ghana, elected under the 1992 Constitution, can function and exercise in his powers as president after his second term bid fails and another person is elected. Can he do that? We'll see how it goes. But Whittle was appointed in those circumstances by President John Dramani Mahama. So Whittle comes to the conclusion in the report that Kusi Boateng doesn't have double identity. Why is Ablakwa saying that? That Kusi Boateng didn't collect money from the cathedral. Story is even more interesting. Let's see it. Let's get to the story. Okudzeto Ablakwa leveled two main allegations against Reverend Kusi Boateng. One, that he is a fraudulent person by virtue of having two passports. And two, that he is relation with the company JNS Talent Limited, puts him in conflict of interest with the National Cathedral project. That's Okudzeto Ablakwa. What did Sraj find? This is what they found. One, Okudzeto Ablakwa alleged in the complaint that the fourth respondent holds two different passports under his name, i.e. Victor Kusi Boateng and Kwabena Edujemfi. When requested by the commission to produce the passport bearing the Victor Kusi Boateng name, the respondent, which is Okudzeto Ablakwa, by a letter dated 9th March 2023, doubled down on his earlier assertion and responded thus: on the request of Victor Kusi Boateng, I have compelling cause to believe that he possesses another passport in his Victor Kusi Boateng identity, similar to how he successfully obtained a passport in his Kwabena Edujemfi identity. He's going to come back. all the time. Okay, let's do text messages. I don't know whether Ablakwa has some agents here. Today, Ablakwa's last day has come. The Commission for Human Rights have spoken. So as I'm talking, he's doing the thing like this, like that. Sammy, leave the thing alone. Let the people be educated on what Suraj said. Sammy, or that they leave it. Stop the thing, the thing. Let the thing come. All right, who should I talk to first? Antoinette, what are people saying? One message each. I'm sure by the time we finish this come.
Yes, so on Paul's comments on the National Cathedral, Richard Amwa Abwaji says God wasn't limited to the Ark of the Covenant, just the conviction to build a cathedral. Because of that, the NPP will win the elections. Still on the Reverend Kusi Boateng story, Nana also says, if I were Reverend Kusi Boateng, I would sue Okudzeto Ablakwa and use the money to help build the same cathedral he's been campaigning against. Ella.
Alright, so this one is from Junior Akbar. He says, just look at the way and manner in which the NDC behave, and they want Ghanaians to vote for them. Why would you vote for such people? It will never happen in this country, and this country is not ready for another NDC party. Lastly, someone says, Ablakwa is the king of babies with sharp teeth. All he knows is to destroy people's reputation with no respect at all. He shall lose his seat in Jesus' name. All right, Fatih.
So this is coming from Samuel Fosuba, and he says, Paul, good evening. DMB's victory has been ordained by God since his fellowship with Nana Addo Dankwa and his faithfulness. Destiny Ray says, Nana Addo is the best president ever in the history of Ghana, Paul, considering COVID-19 struggle and the anonymous development, and he has blessed this country. Lastly, Master Planner Junior says, 11 days to election. Ghanaians, please let us vote for Dr. Bawumia to move Ghana forward. He's number 1 on the ballot paper. Back to you, Paul.
Screen is back. Thank you. So what did Suraj find? Now we know the background already. What did Suraj find? Okay. Okudzeto Ablakwa alleged in his complaint that Victor Kusi Boateng holds 2 different passports under his name, i.e. Victor Kusi Boateng and Kwabena Edujemfi. When requested by the commission to produce the passports bearing Victor Kusi Boateng's name, the respondent by letter dated 9th March 2023 doubled down on his earlier assertion and responded thus. On the request of Kusi Boateng, Victor Kusi Boateng's passport, I have compelling cause to believe that he possesses another passport in the name Victor Kusi Boateng identity, similar to how he successfully obtained a passport in his Kwabena Edujemfi identity. So far, I have secured his Kwabena Edujemfi passport, including a diplomatic passport, which I duly attached in my January 16. The search, however, continues for his Victor Kusi Boateng passport. You see how dishonest some politicians can be. You came out to tell the whole world. This is Okudzeto Ablakwa. He's totally dishonest. You came out to tell the whole world that Kusi Boateng has 2 passports. One is Victor Kusi Boateng. The other one is Kwabena Edujemfi. They are all his identity. And sometimes they even have the same TIN number or something like that. They have different TIN numbers or the same TIN number, something like that. You told the whole world. You told Joy FM. You told City FM. You told press conferences in Parliament. Then you go to the commission and they say, go and bring the 2 passports. Then you tell the commission that the search, however, continues for his Victor Kusi Boateng passport. How crass. How crass. How devious. How evil. Evil. You tell the whole world so that Pastors Kranchiankra and Isaac Kwe go and lay hands on you to help you to protect Ghana's money because you are an anti-corruption fighter. You tell the whole world that Victor Kusi Boateng has 2 identities. The commission says bring the 2 identities to begin the investigation. You say I have found one. As for the other one, I am still searching. How crass. Ablakwa, you are embarrassment to PRESEC on this matter. How can you do that? You tell the whole world that a guy has 2. So at the time you were telling the whole world that a guy has 2 passports, you didn't know that he has 2 passports. You didn't know. But you sat on Joy FM and you tell the whole world. I mean, if I'm a politician, anytime I meet Ablakwa on radio, I say you can't talk. You are the one who sat here and told the whole world that Kusi Boateng has 2 passports. When Suraj said bring it, you said you were still searching. That's how you finished with him. Ablakwa cannot, that's why they can't come on Good Evening Ghana. Because you see, when you come on Good Evening, the things I will ask you, look at this. If any time Ablakwa appears on radio, I will say, I will not believe what you are saying. You told the whole world that Kusi Boateng has 2 passports. When you went to Stride and they said, produce the 2 passports, you said the search, however, continues for his Victor Kusi Boateng passport. Shame on you. Shame. Totally evil. God forgive them. Kusi Boateng will forgive them. Because God forgives us all. Totally shameful. You broadcast that you are the King Kong of corruption. You went to do isophoton. Martin Amidu is looking for you. Forgotten about it. You are the King Kong of corruption. And then you tell us that Kusi Boateng is a double identity man. You go to Shraj, present the report. Where are the 2 passports? The search, however, continues for his Victor Kusi Boateng passport. Have you heard that before, viewers? Have you heard some before? To effectively resolve this issue, the Commission, by a letter dated 10th July 2023, requested information on passports under the name Reverend Victor Kusi Boateng and Kwabena Edu Jemfi from the Passport Office of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration. On the 14th day of July 2023, the Passport Office, which is the body responsible for the issuance of passports and other travel documents in Ghana, per Exhibit 37, after stipulating the various times that the 4th respondent in the name of Kwabena Edu Jemfi was issued with ordinary and diplomatic passports from 2016 through to 2021, indicated that, quote, there is no Victor Kusi Boateng in the passport database. There is no Victor Kusi Boateng in the entire Ghanaian passport database, but a legislator, Okudzeto Ablakwa, told the whole Ghana that Kusi Boateng has 2 passports. One is Kwabena Edu Jemfi, one is Kusi Boateng. Come and show it. He is still searching. Today he's searching. For the next 11 days, he will be searching until he goes to vote. He will be searching. Ablakwa. Rollins said it too. J.J. Rollins. I didn't say he's there. Rollins said it. We didn't listen. We were all laughing. We were dancing with it. Babies with sharp teeth. Babies with sharp teeth. Babies were dancing. Today we are seeing it. Rollins said it. The data. Where did I get to? There's no Victor Kusi Boateng in the passport database. The data provided the Commission shows that Victor Kusi Boateng currently holds 1 non-extant passport number, so, issued on the 27th of October 2021 and set to expire on 26th October 2031, and 1 diplomatic passport number issued so, expiring in sometime 2025. On the issue of payment of sums to Reverend Kusi Boateng. Now, what is this issue about? Okudzeto Ablakwa said that Victor Kusi Boateng had received money from the cathedral and that the money was paid to his company, TNS Talent something, and that it indicated that Kusi Boateng was in conflict of interest because he was one of those sitting in the cathedral issuing contracts, and that he issued these contracts to his company. As a result of issuing contracts to his company, the Commission for the cathedral money, taxpayers' money, you and I, our money, the money Akufo-Addo attributed to the cathedral because he says that he wants to do something for God, that money has been given to Kusi Boateng because he brought his companies in. What did the Commission find? It is the contention of the complainant that acting as director of the JNS Talent Limited under his alias, Kwabena Edu Jemfi, and at the same time director of the National Cathedral under his other name, Reverend Kusi Boateng, the 4th respondent placed himself in a conflict of interest situation in respect of an alleged business transaction between the National Cathedral of Ghana, which resulted in the payment of 2.6 million to him. The respondent, whilst denying this contention, explained that at the time when the National Cathedral was in dire need of funds to pay contractors, the Reverend Kusi Boateng, as director of GNS Talent Limited, offered to give some financial assistance of 2.6 million through a transfer to the National Cathedral of Ghana to enable it pay the contractors. No business was transacted between the National Cathedral and Kusi Boateng, nor was there services provided by the JNS Talent. The payment of 2.6 million to him was only a refund of the exact amount he advanced to the cathedral by way of financial assistance. Hallelujah be to the resurrected Lord. What song was Akufo-Addo dancing to? No, I said, I forgot it. Please get that video ready. Get that video ready. So there are Ghanaians who are good like that. Please give me Reverend Kusi Boateng's photograph. There are Ghanaians who are good like that. The guy went to work, Kusi Boateng went to work at National Cathedral. During the conversations, National Cathedral's money, his government's seed fund is going to go through Controller and Accountant General, Ministry of Finance, Deputy Minister of Finance, Member of Parliament for Finance, the Parliament Finance Committee, the ranking member or something, Deputy Speaker. That's government money. It's all of us our money, so we have to protect it. So I'm guessing that the government money was delayed. Sitting on the council as Reverend Kusi Boateng, he wanted to find out why is this project that is going to, is good, is this darling project of all of us Christians, that we can mount a national cathedral that's dedicated to God and dedicated to presidential inaugurations. Why is this delaying? And they said, Charlie, we owe the contractors. And he must have said, how much? The 2.6 million. Oh, I can pay. So I can advance you people the money. When the government money comes, you pay me back the same 2.6 million cedis. I'm not sure what the dollar rate was at that time, so I can't convert it to dollar. But I'm sure it was significant. So that's what happened. Okujeto Ablakwa went to see or was told. You see, that's why I talk about this. I catch you, journalists. Every time somebody is telling them something, he must have been told that the cathedral has advanced money to Reverend Kusi Boateng by somebody who works at the cathedral. And he must have said, bring me the documents. And they must have given him the documents. And the money was paid to Talent. Talent was not a contractor of the company, so he thought he had found corruption. Today, the Commission for Human Rights and Administrative Justice have showed, by a man appointed by President John Dramani Mahama, has demonstrated that Kusi Boateng had the purest of intentions sitting on that National Cathedral board. That the Reverend Kusi Boateng, also Fupenyi, he had the purest of intentions sitting on that National Cathedral board, and that he was able to give of his own money to the state project, that when the Oforiatta money is ready, he will take his money back. Ablakwa says that is stealing. He is calling that stealing. He who Martin Amidu is...
Metro TV, insightful and inspiring moments.
Has Christianity always been one of the religions in the world to you?
Oh, hallelujah. Praise God. Christianity is not a religion, neither is it a joining of a church and doing the Christian things like praying and giving and so on. Hallelujah. Christianity is the outworking of God's own kind of life received into the spirit of a man. Whoa! This divine life in the heart of a man makes him righteous. It keeps him healthy, divinely guided in life, prosperous and victorious.
Money to the state project so that they will be able to keep the project afloat. Money from a bank, it will add to the project cost. Oforiatta would have had to cough more more money to pay the bank. But thank God we had men of value. The Reverend Kusi Boateng said, I'll pay anymore. I think I have to. No. This country, no. You are taking from Ghana. He is giving to Ghana. Then you come and hold press conference that he's a thief. You are taking, you are collecting every money you have made has come from Ghana. Legitimate salary, allowances, ministerial this, it's fine. But every money you have has come from Ghana. Ghana, your money, everything you have is taxpayer because minister. He gives to Ghana. Then you turn around and call him a thief. Commissioner for Human Rights and Administrative Justice, how are you? Do the work of God, eh? Don't do the work of the devil. One day, you go to heaven. Let me take text messages and wrap it up. What are people saying about this? And Reverend Kusi Boateng, congratulations. Let me congratulate the Reverend Kusi Boateng, your lawyers, your church, your legal team, your prayer warriors. I'm sure Reverend Kusi Apia and the team are very happy. I'm sure Chairman Wuntumi is very happy. All of us are happy. And you know, righteousness exalts a nation. But sin is a reproach to his people. Righteousness exalts a nation. But sin is a reproach to his people. Light will always shine over darkness. Show me the Akufo-Addo dance. I say da yo nyame ne dia. All right, let's grab some text messages. All of you calling me about the book, there will be enough for everyone. Appointed time has done us a lot of good. Thank you to Dr. Siao Japan and his people. He told me that the day I write a book, he will support it, and he has given us amazing support. The photographs too are nice, the photographs too are nice. Okay, let's go to Ella, correct? Oh, Fatih rather. Fatih, what are people saying as we wrap up the show tonight?
All right, thank you so much. So Asari Fred says, very soon his political ambition will be cut short. I think Reverend Kusi Boateng should take him to court. Atungo Kwame says, the interesting thing is that the Commission of Straj was appointed by former GM. God is watching all of us. Brookman says, disgracing someone solely based on personal political interest is unacceptable. It's unfair to compromise someone's reputation for the sake of political gain. And lastly, from Sharafi says, good evening, Paul. Never sleep. Play the voice of the Ablakwa. And Samuel says, Ablakwa used these lies to desecrate the cathedral and created sadness among Christians for this project. Very evil. What do you have to say?
Yes, so Lucy Ryo does not seem to agree with what Paul said concerning the report from Straj. According to Lucy Ryo, he says, Straj said in their report that the man is indeed carrying more than one name, but at the time he was not a public servant, so they, Straj, are not the right institution to charge him on the double identity. Secondly, Straj said they may prosecute him for misappropriation of funds. Nana Adams adds and says he was just exonerated from the double identification, but the real issue about the corrupt deal in the whole cathedral, he was part of that. And Straj has recommended a few people for investigation and prosecution, which he appears to be part of. Nandana Owusu says, in fact, Akujetu's modus operandi is to ensure that the current NPP doesn't build any state-of-the-art infrastructure for Mother Ghana, including our national cathedral, isn't it? We should remember that God is not to be mocked, and he will definitely lose the election on 7 December. Ella.
All right, so this one is from Joe Boy. He says, he's trying to remind you, Paul, that when you had the interview with him, he already explained how the payment was made and why the money had to be returned to you. So this is already something that he had been speaking about for a very long time. Someone says, Ablakwa used these lies to destroy the Christian faith, but no evil will stand against the Christians in Ghana. Kenny says, most of us accounts have two names, house names and formal names. From the get-go, I knew Ablakwa, the baby with sharp teeth, was lying. Reverend Kusi Boateng has been vindicated. Shemonso Ablakwa and anybody that is against him. Isaac says Ablakwa has to be seriously investigated for the isophoton case, and that case must be revisited. This one is from Akwesi. He says, Paul, save your breath. Ablakwa has called the wrath of God upon himself by accusing falsely an innocent man of God. Sharif also says, good evening, Paul. The good never sleep. Please play the voice of Ablakwa once again. And this one is lastly from David Apriko. He says, truth shall stand. God bless. What? All right, back to you.
Yes. Okay. So, yeah. We are on it. Thank you, viewers, for watching. We're back on Thursday. Friday is our book launch. By next week, Monday, you can pick up the book in one of the places we'll show you all over the country, in Accra, in Kumasi, Takoradi, Tamale, and Damongo. Good night. 11 days to go. Bye.